Long ago, on a podcast called Digestible, there were two men who liked to discuss various topics with no expert knowledge in any field. Who better to explain the mysteries of the universe? This is the Digestible Podcast. An easy conversation to consume. So sit back, have a drink, eat some snacks, and prepare to be mildly impressed. They don't set the bar too high here, and they love to rabbit trail and say dude and like a lot. You are listening to the Digestible Podcast, and Navajo is your host and is sometimes guest Uncle Poe. This is the Digestible. The Digestible Podcast. And no, I am your father. Welcome to the podcast.
Happy Star Wars Day, dude.
Happy May the 4th. Yeah, Star Wars Day.
Yeah, we're supposed to have this episode out today. But dude, you really pushed the envelope on this one, man. I was a little nervous about this one.
Yeah, some interesting things happened.
Yeah, you went out of state and you left me all alone. And I just realized we could have did this over the phone on Discord, and I could have recorded it a long time. Yeah, I thought about that after when we were going to do it at the airport. I was like, we could have did that earlier in the week. Why didn't we do that?
I have no idea why we did it, but yes, I was in Mississippi and Alabama for a friend's wedding. I was one of the groomsmen, so it was miserable, hot, and humid. But funny enough, he's a huge Star Wars and Lord of the Rings fan, so we took our groomsmen pictures with lightsabers.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was pretty rad. And he got me a Star Wars book. It's Master and Apprentice. It's an old legend Star Wars book about Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan Kenobi.
That's funny, dude. Qui-Gon, that guy, he was a trip. So I'm only going off in like what I've watched in the movies.
Okay.
So I'm not that deep in the lore, but I'm pretty sure I'm correct in my point of view.
Okay. What's that point of view that he's pretty crazy?
No, my point of view is that, okay, this might be a little out there, and I'm not sure if other people had this idea.
Okay.
We've always been told the same story. The Jedi Order stood for peace. The Sith brought chaos, and Anakin Skywalker was the one who was supposed to save it all. What if that's the wrong way to look at it? What if the Jedi didn't just fail Anakin? What if they were already part of the problem? Because by the time Anakin shows up, the Jedi aren't balanced. They're rigid. They don't guide emotion, they suppress it. They don't trust instinct, they enforce rules. And when a system like that leans too far in one direction, the Force doesn't stay still, it corrects. So what if the rise of the Sith wasn't the beginning of the problem, but the response to it? And what if Anakin wasn't meant to resist the dark side, but to become it? Not to destroy balance, but to restore it. So today we're asking, why did Anakin fall? But Anakin didn't just fall to the dark side. He was slowly shaped into it by the Jedi Order. And they pushed him to be, everything pushed him to be the dark side to bring balance to the Force.
Yes, I agree.
Everything mounted up because the Jedi they overcorrected and they unbalanced the Force. And
they did.
I watched all first 3 episodes, episode 1, episode 2, and episode 3. And I want to discuss the fall of Anakin.
Let's talk about it.
Really, not really the fall, but more of the the development of Anakin.
Okay, his story arc,
Yeah,
his journey.
yeah, because if you first come into it, the whole Republic is based on the Jedi. They thought they brought peace, but
Right.
the whole city is like crumbling, it's corrupted. They have like all these the Trade Federation. These
Yeah,
guys, yeah,
separatist trade federations. Yeah.
yeah, they're like taking on Naboo, about to kidnap the Queen. It's crazy, dude. Like this whole Jedi Order is not balancing anything. There's no peace. It's all corrupted, and they're just sitting
Yeah.
in their high seats thinking they brought balance.
Because it's that's how it's a picture of how Western societies fall. And I don't think maybe George Lucas was trying to make a statement back then, but I think, and here's why. Because when you have a Western society that values free speech, free expression of ideas and beliefs and different cultures, when you have that society, right, you build around it. It's the catalyst of freedom and out of Western civilization and philosophy. But when you begin to censor speech, you begin to remove people's ability to express that. What ends up happening is you remove that appendix of the culture that filters out ideas, right? Because when you suppress speech and you suppress conversation, how do you filter out bad ideas from good ideas? When people have a good idea, you suppress them, you shut them down. uh, you keep good ideas from, you know, influencing culture for the betterment of everyone. And this is what happened in the Jedi. I mean, you cut down a whole side.
Yeah, that's why I was saying Qui-Gon was crazy because he went against that whole rigid philosophy.
Yeah.
That's why they didn't really like him. They go like Obi-Wan and Samuel Jackson. Not
Yep.
Obi-Wan, Yoda and Samuel Jackson didn't really like him because he went against the rigidness. So it was
Mhm.
already unbalanced and they were so rigid and everything, dude, before Anakin even showed up.
Oh yeah. But what's crazy is that Yoda realized it too late. He realized it eventually, and he began realizing it in the Clone Wars. See, that's the series, the cartoon episodes that came out that are set between episodes 2 and 3. So you gotta Sam Witwer, who does the voice for Darth Maul, he recommended that one should watch the entire Clone Wars series first, or after episodes one and two. So you watch episodes 1 and 2, and then you watch the entire 7 seasons of the Clone Wars, because then you get so attached to the story of Anakin Skywalker. You see him go from young Jedi Knight through the entirety of the Clone Wars, from general to friend, from master to teaching Ahsoka,
Okay,
his
okay, you're
Padawan.
jumping ahead, man. I want to talk about episode one first before
Okay, okay,
we
okay,
get
okay,
too
okay,
deep in there. Yeah, you're jumping
okay,
too
okay,
far
okay.
ahead. We're
I'm
still on
sorry, my
episode one.
Star Wars knowledge is very
Yeah,
vast.
I
So
know, man. So right off the bat, the whole empire, everything's crooked to begin with. It's unbalanced. The Sith is in the background. He's not really. They're not really extinct. They're moving in the background. They're trying to.
right, right.
They're rebalancing the Force in a small way. And then out of nowhere, we have a Force baby, Anakin, which I completely forgot that he was a Force baby, dude.
Yeah.
Because I watched these movies when I was a kid when they first came out, and that was like the last time I really watched
Mhm.
them.
And that was a very controversial move by George Lucas to make the Force based off the midichlorians, the little biological amoebas that live
Mm-hmm.
inside every organism, because people were like, "Oh, it takes away the mysticism of like having this supernatural force that people connect to, whether it be light or dark." Uh, but honestly, I guess I was,
No, it's just space herpes.
yeah, space herpes. So something like that.
It's transferred
But
by
I
the
think
blood.
Right. But I think because I grew up during the prequel era, I've never really seen it as controversial. So all I've ever known was midichlorians. So for me, it's not an issue. But yeah,
Yeah, and then everything that sucks for this little kid. Like I watched it again. He's grown up as a slave, and his mom's a slave. He gets born as a slave, and then he works for Watto. That guy, Annie, my
oh yeah,
boy. That's a horrible.
Eddie, Eddie, my boy,
Yeah,
I give you 5 credits for the boy.
yeah, that's good, dude. I'm horrible at
Yeah.
Watto, dude.
Yeah.
Hey,
You sound more like
gabagool.
Louis Armstrong trying to clear his throat.
I know, dude, I can't do them. I used to
A
be able to do them.
constipated Louis Armstrong. Or the Lego Yoda death sound from Lego Star Wars: The Complete Saga. That
Oh, Jenny said I couldn't do it. I was like, man, I was dead on yesterday. I was doing the sound effect. She said I sound
yeah,
like a dying cat. No, I was arguing with her.
yeah,
All right. So after they find this, they escape to Tatooine. Was not. It wasn't Tatooine, was it?
yeah. They leave Naboo and they escape to Tatooine. Well, they have to crash land there, pretty much. Remember, they escape Naboo, but the warp drive is damaged, so they need to replace their hyperdrive.
Yes. So they end up there on this little desert planet,
Right,
and
right.
they go to the markets. They find this kid, and this dude's just blessed with like fixing things. Somehow the
Yes.
like he has like the force helps him build things, and he's a pod racer. There's a funny pod racing scene. Now it's all cool and stuff, but everything sucks for this kid's life. Like,
Okay.
you might think it's cool to be a pod racer, but dude, you know how dangerous that is to put a child as a
Oh
pod
yeah,
racer? He's
yeah. He has nothing going for him.
he's like literally risking his life every time he jumps in that
Mhm.
thing.
But the only reason he's able to survive is because of the Force. But he doesn't know that yet.
Yeah. Then he once he gets free from there, his mom, he has to leave his mom, and his mom tells him don't look back, and he has to leave her as a slave. And then they don't ever give this kid clothes. The whole movie, they don't give him a new set of clothes. They leave him
Not
in,
until the end, when
yeah,
he's back on Naboo.
yeah, they give him, he's walking around in desert clothes on a cold ship, and and then some predator teenager girl comes up to him and gets him all caught up in his feelings, man.
Yeah, yeah, uh-huh.
Yeah, it's just, this kid had it rough the whole time. Then he shows up at the council before the Jedi, and then they have the nerve to say there's fear in him. Instead of helping him process his fear,
Yeah.
they just isolate him more and say, nah, we don't want to train him. This guy's,
Hmm.
he's off. Then Qui
Yeah.
Gon, my boy Qui Gon, had to come out and like, you know what? You guys are tripping again. You're being too rigid. I want to train the boy. And they're like, you can't train him. You already got Obi-Wan. And he's like, forget Obi-Wan. He's old enough. He knows what he's doing.
Yep, that's exactly what happened. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yep. That's a great synopsis.
Yeah. So, and then Samuel Jackson was like, nah. He's like, we ain't training the boy. He's like, you need to just take him back. And he's like, I can't take him back. I already bought him. He's mine. And then Samuel Jackson looked at him like, you buying slaves? And then that went down a whole other avenue, and we're gonna bypass that. So
Yeah, we're gonna yeah.
yeah, so the Jedi get into the slave trade. Another part that they're unbalancing the dark side. Then after they don't want to train him, he's only accepted because Qui Gon, my boy Qui Gon
Right.
jumps in. Then they take him into a battle scene, dude. They start
Yes,
getting
they go back to Naboo.
yeah, they start getting into a battle, and they tell him to stay in a ship. Like one of the worst decisions to
Yes.
put a pod racing kid that pushes buttons, put him in a ship.
But Qui-Gon trusted him. That's the thing.
Yeah, I'm just saying this whole movie is like crazy for this whole situation for this little kid, dude. It's just,
Oh, it's a CPS worst nightmare.
dude, it's like everything for this little kid is he's constantly put his life in danger. Qui Gon died on episode one. Spoilers. If you guys, if you haven't seen episode one, that's a spoiler. You know that's shame on you.
You're a scumbag if you haven't at this point.
Then he gets left at the very end, and he watches Qui Gon get burned in a pyre.
While they're randomly kind of talking trash about him.
Yeah,
Just-
he has to stand there and get,
yeah.
it's rough, dude. Like I was watching it just as that point of view, as Anakin, he has it rough, and I think that's just kind of messed up.
Oh, and let's not forget another great sin that the Jedi Council committed. Do you know who Kai Arimunde is? Do you remember which one that was?
Is that to do with the big forehead that goes into a
Guy
top
with the
knot?
big forehead. Yeah, that has like he's like, but what about the joint attack on the Wookiees? And then they're like, oh, Master Yoda shall go with the Wookiees. But anyways, uh, the show The Acolyte. I don't think you watched this. This is the new Disney show. It's controversial. Some people say it's good. Some people are like, hey, it's trash. But basically it's set before the Phantom Menace. Coyote Munde's alive, Yoda is still alive, and all that. Like it's set before Episode One, and they're fighting a Sith Lord. There's this dark side guy who is very evidently a Sith, and in Episode One, when Qui Gon comes to the council and he's like, "I think we encountered a Sith Lord after they fought Darth Maul." Coyote Munde is the first to speak up, and he's like, "But the Sith have been dead for 1,000 years. How is this possible?" It's like, liar, liar. He knew that they were not extinct for 1,000 years. He knew that less than 100 years ago, he was.
Mm.
They were fighting a Sith Lord. So it's like,
So they're
yeah, there's another
repressing
thing. They're
knowledge too.
liars,
That's just episode 1.
right?
They-
Episode 2 is no better.
Episode 2, it comes back, and then he gets creepy. He starts looking at
Padme.
Padme all creepy. She even tells him, "Don't look at
Like,
me
"Don't
like
look
that."
at me
Yeah.
like that.
And then he gets like an evil little smirk. Like, dude,
Oh, I'm
that's
sorry,
creepy.
princess.
Yeah.
I don't like sand. It's rough and coarse and irritating, and it gets everywhere.
Yeah. That was very disturbing.
It was very disturbing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then that's another thing in the Attack of the Clones, right? Part 2, they have a whole system hidden away, like a whole star system. Like, no, it doesn't exist because it's not in
Yeah.
our records.
Well, actually, funny enough, it was Darth Tyrannus, it was Count Dooku, that went into the Jedi archives and erased the planet under the name of Sifo Dyas. Sifo Dyas died, but Count Dooku, who was still a Jedi at the time, he was still in the Order. No one had known that he was secretly being trained by Emperor Palpatine and was becoming Darth Tyrannus. He went and deleted Camino from the records of the Jedi archives so that no one would be able to find it, so that they could secretly create the clone army. And that's what Obi-Wan discovers in Episode 2.
Yeah. Which was kind of cool because then they also find out who the bounty hunter was and it kind of tied in.
Oh, yeah.
But he was
That whole thing is crazy.
This is the Digestible Podcast. We will be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Move along, citizen.
Man, this armor still smells like blaster grease.
That's a standard issue. Better than Bantha dung. I guess it adds character.
It adds burnt metal.
Bows.
You ever think about soap?
Only when I'm suffering and watching the pod races.
I found this thing, Purity Blue.
Careful. Sounds like a Jedi meditation retreat.
No, it's soap, like really clean, fresh. Not Empire clean, like actual clean.
So what? Like it removes the dark side?
I didn't say that, but I did not say that.
Careful.
I saw it on Etsy shop.
So you're buying hygiene products off Etsy now? Whatever happened to buying things from Jabba the Hutt?
I'm just saying, if I'm going to enforce Imperial Order, I like to smell like I made peace with my old life choices.
That's the most rebellious thing
That's
you've
quite the
ever said.
philosophical fragrance you've got going there.
What the heck? Hey, Alexa, stop. I wasn't talking to you, dude. How did you start listening to me? That was freaky. Did you hear that? Oh, man, okay, where were we? Where did we leave off?
It's
Oh,
a lavender infused rebellion.
I'm just... hold on. Oh, it's okay. That's the most real bit then. It's Lavender Infused Rebellion.
That actually sounds kind of nice. Move along, citizen.
I'm ordering it tonight.
Get 2 of them.
This is the Digestible Podcast, and we are back. Now, shush and listen.
But episode 2, we get to the creepy arc of Anakin.
Yes.
Obi-Wan is not no Qui-Gon. He doesn't either Qui-Gon failed Obi-Wan or Obi-Wan failed Anakin. I think it's a little bit of both. Because
I think that
because Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, he still needed more training. Obi-Wan still needed more training, and he said he died off and he was ready to train Anakin because he's seen Obi-Wan was a lost cause. Because he's seen
Well,
his, he's
no,
seen his,
Obi-Wan was not a lost cause. Okay,
yeah,
in what way? I'll disagree with you there, but in what way do you think Obi-Wan failed Anakin? Because Obi-Wan admitted, "I have failed you." So it came from his own mouth. He did.
because
So I'm not going to argue with you that
he
he didn't.
teaches him discipline, but not emotional control.
Ooh, I don't know. I don't think about that because
Yeah, because
there
that's
in the Clone Wars.
Anakin's whole problem is his emotions. They said it from the very beginning. That's why they didn't want to train him to begin with. Is because
Yeah,
his
but I don't think that
emotions.
was Obi-Wan's fault. I think that Obi-Wan did his best to train Anakin in that, but Anakin was already at a disadvantage because he had already grown up to be a kid to where he was so already in tune with his emotions.
No, 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 no. So
Uh, because
the whole reason they didn't want to train him was because they sensed fear, and they said fear can lead to confusion and anger can lead to the dark side.
yeah, it's
So
because he's
it's
very emotional already
and
because he's too old.
I
So he's
know it's
already
instead of teaching him how to control his emotions, they never touch on that topic ever again, and they just
no, they don't, but Obi-Wan does.
Obi
Obi-Wan
Wan.
teaches yes. So see, this is where the Clone Wars comes in. This is canon. This is Clone Wars' peak. Obi-Wan had a love interest. He was actually falling in love with a woman. So he knows exactly what Anakin was going through. And Obi-Wan was able to come out of it, and he didn't turn to the dark side. He watched the love of his life get killed. Darth Maul literally killed her in front of him just to torment Obi-Wan. And Obi-Wan was crying, and he was like, "No!" Because he loved this girl, and he was struggling within himself because he knew as a Jedi, he was forbidden to be married, to love and to have these
See,
emotions because
that's
they
what
could
I
turn to
think
the dark
was
side.
that I think that was wrong of the Jedi is that they try to block emotions.
I think so too.
Like
I see
anger's
it's
understandable, but you can control anger because sometimes when they're fighting, you could see they're angry, and then they
yeah.
get a little burst of speed, and the fight gets better.
See, and that's the irony of it because that's the style that Mace Windu fought. That's why. So, so the funny thing about Mace Windu, the only reason why purple exists is because Samuel L. Jackson wanted a purple lightsaber. Yeah, it's the only reason why Nick Fury is purple is because he wanted it.
Yeah, the only reason
But
Samuel Jackson was in the movie is because he's Samuel Jackson and he wanted a purple lightsaber.
yeah,
He wanted
and
a
so
random color.
yeah, and the crazy thing is, so they had to add lore to that, right? Because people are like, well, why does he have a purple lightsaber? Well, you have to have an in-universe explanation. And the in-universe explanation is Vapad, which is the style of training that he specializes in. And he's the only one allowed in the Jedi Order to practice it because it's perfect balance between the light and the dark side. That's why it's purple. Blue and red make purple. So he leans into the anger and frustration and the elements of the dark side, but he doesn't give in to them and he balances them with discipline and other traits of the Jedi Order to create a perfect balance.
So he
But
deals
that
with his
style,
emotions.
yeah,
What they
but that
failed to
style is
teach Anakin.
yeah, because they don't trust anyone to learn to know how to master it. So Mace Windu is the only one allowed to practice that. But then one has to ask themselves because it's like think of it like this: kids who are way too oversheltered. Are you doing more harm than good than keeping them from getting hurt? Because at some point they're gonna have to get hurt. And if you can control how they heal to that, how they respond to that, I think that's more beneficial to them than keeping them from getting hurt at all. Because if they don't know how to understand pain, like if you bubble wrap your kid and he never like falls down and scrapes his knee, that's not good. Because like the first thing, say he's 10 years old and he barely scrapes his knee, he's gonna be hysterical. Like that's horrible. Why would you like let him be a kid? Let him fall out of a tree. Let him break his arm. Let
Yeah,
him
I agree with
run
that.
amok. So I think if you extrapolate that in a way bigger sense over an entire culture and society, a religious society, which the Jedi Order is, I think it's like the butterfly effect. The effects of it get way worse because you're enlarging it the scale by so much. And I think that's the mistake of the Jedi Order. At least one part of the mistake
Yeah,
in
because
being way
they were
too.
constantly judging this dude. Like
Hmm.
he couldn't do anything right in their eyes. He's constantly just being judged, and they're hating on my boy Annie.
Hmm.
And then once all this, like he after his little creepy arc with Padme, he ends up on his own Tatooine. He
Yeah.
backs on his own planet. Finds out his mom's been sold.
Right.
Goes in the water. Watto's like, "Oh, I sold your mother. Yeah, I made a profit. Hey." And like that's messed up. Then he's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
but the guy I sold her to loved her." It's like, yeah, like that makes me feel better. That my mom that you
Yeah.
sold to a man decided he loved her after all.
Well, I can understand why Annie would think that, but that actually wasn't the case.
Yeah, I know. I'm just painting it from his perspective.
Okay, yeah, yeah. From his
Yeah.
perspective, I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah. Then he ends up finding the place, goes to the spot. Then they said some sand people came and took your mom.
Right, right.
The Tusken Raiders, right?
The Tusken Raiders, yep.
The Tusken Raiders. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then he goes and tries to save his mom. And you know what was the freaky part is I don't remember this scene, and I was tripping out because why was she strapped to that thing face forward? What were these sand people doing to that lady? And I was like,
I
this
have
is
no
this is
idea.
kind of dark, dude. I'm like, this, it's like her face was all cut up. She looked like she was weak. I'm just like, that poor lady was getting assaulted by these sand people.
Yep. They're animals, barbaric,
Then he kills everybody,
even
which
the kids.
you know, I don't see this as too bad.
Compared to what he does in canon,
You know what? Because
this is a very
even the
light
Jedi Council, they never talk about this. No one talks about this. Yoda's like, I sense
Ooh.
Anakin is hurting, and
Oh yeah, and Qui-Gon tries to stop him too.
that's it. That's all you hear. And then,
Anakin, no.
yeah, there's nothing else you hear about. He doesn't get smacked on the hand. Nothing. He doesn't. He gets to have his emotional outburst, and they don't tell him nothing. There's no one's helping him deal with emotions. He's a teenager,
Yeah.
full of hormones. Is all caught up on a girl, and his mom just died. Yeah, this
In
guy
his arms.
needed
Yeah.
some counseling, not to be separated and judged more by Samuel L. Jackson and the rest
Yep.
of the council.
And you know what? I think why Star Wars is so profound. You know why? Because I don't think people realize how normal Anakin is. How much like us
Yeah,
he is, and the fact that he's so much like us, but yet he was capable of so much horror and atrocity, I think puts into perspective what we're capable of,
and
which
he
is scary.
still balanced him. He was still trying to be a good guy on his own without any like his masters aren't teaching him how to deal with all that anger he has in it.
Right.
And then we have the the cougar that comes after him towards the end of the
Padme, yeah.
movie. Cuz how old is she in the first episode 1?
That's one bit of Star Wars lore that I wish I knew. I do not know Padme's age in episode 1.
She has to be over 16.
Yeah, I think she was 16, the youngest, I think.
Yeah, and he was what? Maybe 7, 8?
I would say around 8 maybe, yeah, 8 or 9.
So 10 years, he's barely 18. That
Yeah,
makes her 26.
something like that, yeah.
Yeah, dude. I don't know. That's kind of like she's like I would always see you as
Yeah.
that little boy.
And you know what's even stupider? They don't even hide it well. Like literally, like they get off the plane, right? In episode 3, and like Mace Windu's right there, Yoda and all the Jedi, and they welcome them home from their mission or whatever. And then Padme's off in the distance, and Anakin runs away, acting like he's not in the Jedi Temple with all the Jedi around him. And he goes and he hugs and he starts kissing Padme. He's like, "Do what?" He's like, "Oh, we had to be secretive." It's like you're kissing your wife in the Jedi Temple. Your master and all the Jedi Council are literally a few feet away from you. Like you guys are not good at hiding this.
Dude, I'm pretty
So
sure they can sense his feelings because
I think so
he was on
too.
another planet and he was killing people, some Tusken Raiders. They felt that. If he's downstairs, I'm pretty sure they could feel his emotions down there.
Oh yeah.
And they
Mm-hmm.
still don't deal with it. And so
Because
now
they're
we're in
blind.
episode 3. This guy's older. He's been married. They got a secret marriage. And now they tell him, okay, we're gonna put you on the council. But
Right.
we're not going to give you the rank. So it's like, we're giving you the promotion.
That's unfair.
We're giving you the promotion, but we're not going to give you the pay raise.
That is so unfair.
Yeah. It's like he's already been 10 years busting his butt trying to show you guys he's worthy of this. Qui-Gon said he's the chosen one. He has all these prophecies. He's trying to deal with something. He has a horrible master who's just constantly competing with him. It's not mentoring him. He's competing with him.
No.
Watch
Obi-Wan
episode
is
3.
not competing with
Watch
Anakin.
episode 3.
In what way
they're
is
constantly
Obi-Wan
competing
with Anakin?
They're constantly competing.
No, but in what way that's meaningful? In what way that really affects Anakin? Sure, like, oh, I killed more droids than you. Then yeah, sure. Or like, I'm a better pilot, and sure. But that's not in any meaningful sense of
You guys
as
can't
far
see me.
as
I'm struggling right
competition.
now. I'm just saying, like, immature.
No, I don't. I don't agree with that. I don't. No, Obi-Wan was a great master.
I love Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan is my favorite character.
He's my favorite character
Yeah,
too. But in what way was he competing with
did-
Anakin?
He was constantly just messing with that kid, and he was
No,
guiding
he
him
was
with his
not.
emotions, dude. I'm just saying.
Anakin was bullheaded and always getting into trouble, and
Because
Obi-Wan was always he
he
believed in him,
treated him like a brother more than a master and disciple.
which I think is
Wrong. Qui-Gon told him, train the boy. Train him.
Right.
Not make him your brother.
But I don't. But yet, a brother is more able to help someone manage their emotions, than someone who's just, or maybe I don't know. I don't know. But okay,
That's I'm constantly
Here's-
pushing that is they failed him as a master disciple.
yes, okay, I agree with you there that there was a failure on Obi-Wan's part.
Okay, it
and the
was
only
maybe it might not
way-
be extreme as like the things, but he still didn't
Yeah.
treat him like a master should.
I agree that Obi-Wan failed Anakin, but I'm not even sure in which way completely. The only reason why I can confidently say that is because Obi-Wan himself admits it. He admits he failed Anakin. So I won't argue that he failed Anakin. I'm just curious, in what way do you think he failed him?
Okay, so if you ever had anyone under you training wise,
Okay.
if you're a friend to them, that's cool. But when you need to get serious and lock in,
Okay.
there's not they think they can keep playing around and they won't take your word seriously.
Right.
And then you have to step up and be like, hey, like, we're cool and all, but like, if it's constantly just that they never
Yeah.
show that respect to the master. And that's where he
Yeah.
failed him as a master. He didn't keep that line from master disciple. He got too friendly with him and became his brother. And it's hard to tell a little brother what to do when you're the older brother.
I don't know about that.
Because you never had no one under you before.
No, I get that. You're explaining that, and I understand that. Like, I totally get that.
That's where I see he failed him. He failed him there just because I've had people under me and I train people, and sometimes you just have to draw that line in the sand. Like, hey, we're cool and all, but at the end of the day, I'm the master and you're the little Padawan.
I don't know because
You haven't been in that position, and that's why I'm correct, and that's going in the edit. Bing. It's a little winky face gonna pop up. They publicly humiliate him, dude, by putting him on the council, but don't give him the rank of Jedi.
yeah,
Then they tell him they want him to portray Palpatine by being a spy for him.
right.
And then they keep trying to ask him to be loyal while keeping him at an arm's distance, dude. Everything that the Jedi did to this young guy who's just trying to do the best he could, they constantly just kept pushing him away, pushing him towards the other side. And that's
He
why
was set up for failure.
I think the whole reason he was brought in to the whole force to begin with was to balance the Jedi, because they overcorrected and they ended up throwing the balance off force and making everything where they thought was peaceful was actually throwing everything into chaos.
Right. And like I said, too much of a good thing can be a bad thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's exactly the case.
Yeah. So that's the whole thing I got away from this whole episode 1. He was ignored and feared. Episode 2, he was he couldn't suppress his emotions. And then episode 3, they broke his trust and they like Samuel L. Jackson tried to say, "Now I trust you." It's like, yeah, now
Yeah.
I trust you. After he did all the work for them, and then now I trust you. Like, come on, dude. Like,
Yeah. He was a bit of a butt. I don't Mace Windu. But here's my only point of contention. I don't think the Jedi Council humiliated him by having him on the council because they did not choose to have him on the council. It was not their choice. It was the Emperor's, and he knew the schism that would cause. He knew the divisiveness that would sow between the council and Anakin. He knew that was going to happen, and he knew that would fuel jealousy and anger in Anakin, which would only push him closer to the dark side. But the Jedi were too blind to see it. But they kind of suspected it though, because that's why they had him spy on the Chancellor. But they didn't think that through because then that put Anakin in that position where it feels like, oh, I'm betraying the one guy I do trust because Anakin didn't sense that Palpatine was the bad guy. So to him, it's like, oh, you guys are a bunch of jerks. You want me on the council, but I'm not a master. And then you want me to spy on my best friend, and you think that I'm going to earn your trust. And it's just Palpatine playing his hand.
it was just all hypocrisy, dude, on their part. They were a bunch of
All of it.
hypocrites, and then that's the whole Jedi Council and everything. They're just hypocrites. That's
Yeah, they
why,
deserve to go.
yeah, that's my whole reason. Is I think Anakin was made not to balance the Jedi and destroy the Sith. I think that whole viewpoint is wrong. I think he
Right.
went to balance the rest of the universe and get rid of both the Sith and the Jedi. And only
I
when
agree with
both of them are gone, there was peace.
that. Kind of.
No, I think so because once you get rid
For a
of
few
both
years.
oppositions, I think that's where we're gonna end it. And end on the
Well,
first three
because
episodes.
then there was a Yuuzhan Vaughn war after
Yeah,
Luke,
I would like
kills
to
Darth
go
Vader
into
and the
this, man,
Emperor.
but you didn't give me any time, dude. And this is a short episode. We're just gonna have to
I'm
do what we
sorry.
have, and I'm gonna edit this, so I'm gonna make it seem like my point was correct, just because I
I
got the Uncle Poe
apologize.
edit.
Yeah. I just let me just preface here to the faithful third chair. I sincerely apologize for this short episode, but I know it's gonna be great. This is gonna be Uncle Poe's episode, so I'm excited to see how it comes out. It'll probably be our best episode because he's just really good at editing.
You're gonna watch me polish a turd, dude.
Um, but yeah, we apologize for polished. Yeah, put makeup on a pig, right? But yeah, there's a lot of things going on, so there might be a delay in some of the socials and all that. But you know what? That's life, and this is meant to be built around life, not be our lives. So, it's going to be an authentic podcast that's in tandem with reality. So, I think this is going to come out tomorrow. Is that right?
Yeah, it's gonna be dropped tomorrow for Revenge of the Fifth.
Awesome. Revenge of the
So
Fifth. Star
thank you,
Wars
Joseph. I
Week.
know you got to go, man. Thank you for taking some time out of your busy schedule and joining me in this episode.
Don't make it sound like that.
That's what it was like,
Uh,
man. I was trying to get you on here all day. It was all
I know.
yesterday, all Saturday, all Friday.
Finally graced you with my presence. Out of my very busy schedule, I acquiesced to gift you with my feeble time.
Yeah, so thank you. Thank you, oh gracious one, for blessing
Oh,
us
you're
with
so very
your
welcome.
presence.
You are so welcome.
All right, Joseph, I will catch you later. I'm going to end this episode with a little few sign offs. And
All
yeah,
righty. Yeah, do whatever you want.
okay. Talk to you later.
All righty. See ya. Love you. Bye.
Bye. All right, guys. So this is it. This is the shortest episode in our run. This was Digestible. The Uncle Poe cut. The Uncle Poe edit. A little bit of there's little Easter eggs hidden out throughout this episode. And you want to check out Purity Blooms, you're going to check out the links down below. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for being a part of this. Happy Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. And it is the Revenge of the Fifth when this drops. So thank you guys for being a part of it. Yeah, this was fun. This is a fun idea. And we got some fun episodes coming up next month. If Joseph gives us the time and graces us with his presence again. And I do have another episode coming up with a special guest. We're going to do some music stuff. So stay tuned for that. You guys hear that? That sounds like an outro.
This was the Digestible Podcast with Navajo as your host. So, take what you heard and pass on your own point of view. We want to say thank you for being the third chair, silently listening to us. That's not weird. We think you're cool. This was produced by his Uncle Poe and edited by the same sometimes guest. The song didn't fade off because Uncle Poe left this as a secret for you. The secret word is cherry bubblegum. Let them know you heard this Easter egg in the comments below. And if you see us in person, we may have a gift if you know the secret word. But don't tell the Jedi or those rebel scum.